Welcome. We're about to look at your 2026 horoscope, but we're going to do it through this really incredible ancient story that might just change everything for you.
Okay, let's just jump right in. Does this hit home for you? I mean, really think about it. You're in a room, you see exactly what's happening. You know the solution, but when you open your mouth to explain it, it's like bam, a brick wall, just blank stares. That feeling, that frustration, it's not just in your head. It's actually the key to your entire next year.
And that feeling, that's what leads us to the heart of what you're going to be up against in 2026. It's this major conflict, this Aquarius Dilemma. You're going to have so much power, but wow, the pressure is going to be just as intense.
So what's going on behind the scenes astrologically speaking? Well, you've got the heavyweight planet Pluto parked right in your sign. This means your mind is just on fire. You're feeling smarter, quicker, more brilliant than you have in a long, long time. But, and this is a big but, there's a huge catch. That same intellectual power, that same feeling of knowing you're right can make you super rigid. And you know what happens to things that are rigid, right? When the pressure gets too high, they don't bend, they break. Now, to figure out how to deal with all this pressure, we're not going to pull up another chart. Nope, we're going to do something different. We're going to dive into this amazing ancient story, a really deep lesson from the master philosopher Lao Tzu. So, picture this. Lao Tzu goes to see his teacher, who is literally on his deathbed. He's hoping, for one last nugget of wisdom, one final teaching. But the master doesn't launch into some big speech. He just opens his mouth and asks this really weird question. He says, "Look inside. Do I still have my tongue?" And Lao Tzu, probably thinking, okay, where is this going? He leans in, takes a look, and just gives a straight answer. Yes, sure, it's right there. But the master isn't finished. He then asks him, okay, how about my teeth? Do I still have my teeth? Another simple question, but this is where the real lesson starts to unfold. So Lao Tzu looks again, and this time he sees it. The soft tongue is there, but the hard teeth, they're all gone. So he shakes his head and says, "No, master, they're all gone. You have no teeth left." And this is the magic moment. The master gives this little smile, a totally toothless smile, and he asks the question that changes everything. Do you understand why? He doesn't just hand over the answer. He makes Lao Tzu find it himself. And you can almost see the light bulb go on over Lao Tzu's head. It all just clicks. He says the tongue, it's soft and flexible, so it lasts. The teeth, they're hard and rigid, so they break and fall out. Is this what you mean? And that right there, that simple observation, that is the single most important lesson for you in 2026. The soft endures, the hard breaks. So let's break this down, because what Lao Tzu figured out in that moment is your secret weapon for the year. It's this core concept, this powerful idea, the teeth versus the tongue. This right here, this flips everything we think we know about strength on its head, doesn't it? Look at the teeth. They look strong, they're hard, they're rigid, they bite, they crush things. But that very hardness is their weakness. It makes them brittle. Eventually they break. Now look at the tongue. It seems weak, right? It's soft, it's flexible, it doesn't fight, it yields, it navigates around things. And because of that exact quality, it lasts a whole lifetime. Okay, so this is a great story, but what does it actually mean for you right now in 2026? Let's get practical. Let's turn this ancient wisdom into your personal blueprint for the year ahead. All right, first things first. We're talking about your personality, how you show up in the world. You have got to stop being the teeth. Yes, your intellect is razor sharp. We know that. But it's becoming rigid. It's making you brittle. Every time you bite someone with your version of the truth, every time you grind your gears against a reality that just won't change for you, you're not winning. You're just wearing yourself down to a nub. That is the express lane to burnout. And listen to me on this. If you refuse to find some flexibility this year, you will not win. You will just break. Now let's talk about your relationships, because this is where the change really has to happen. It is time to start being the tongue. For too long, you've been trying to use your teeth, your cold, hard logic, to solve problems of the heart, which are always soft and emotional. And it's not working, is it? So instead of trying to dominate a conversation, to prove you're right, just try to be flexible, navigate it. The tongue doesn't survive because it wins fights. It survives because it yields, it moves. And in that yielding,
That's where you'll find the space to be truly, finally heard. Okay, so this brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. It's time to take a breath and really let this sink in. As you walk into this incredibly powerful year, I want you to hold this one thought close. For you in 2026, real power is not about force. It's not about being the toughest, the hardest, or the loudest one in the room. And so, the question I want to leave you with, the one that I think will define your whole year, is this. What's more important to you? Winning the argument and maybe losing the person? Or are you willing to be soft enough, to be flexible enough, to finally actually be heard? Something to think about.